One of the appeals of a branded niche dropshipping approach is that you can go from being a classic AliExpress dropshipper to eventually becoming a brand builder, and you can do this in record time. I achieved this after my first profitable dropshipping store using the methods that I taught you in this course so far. So let me just outline, the storyboard or the timeline that you will go through as you follow the content of my course, and also the characteristics of each stage. So we're going to start off at step 1, right? This is when you are first starting off, and we're going to call this classic dropshipping, okay? Because that's what it is. You're doing what everyone else on dropshipping is doing. You're getting your products from AliExpress, using Oberlo to fulfill your orders, and everything is basically just like how most people teach you how to run dropshipping. And what are the characteristics of this stage, right? Well, first of all, your testing concept, right? This is just a branded niche dropshipping store that you just made. You have no idea if it's going to eventually work or not, or if it's scalable. You're very excited. You worked really hard on this site, and you're testing to see if cycling is going to be a good niche or not, if MMA is going to be a good niche or not, if is home goods going to be a good niche or not, right? You have no idea. At this point, you have a lot of suppliers, right? You focused on being broad with your sourcing efforts, getting products from as many suppliers as possible. You didn't care about suppliers. You didn't want a lot of suppliers. You just prioritized finding great products that fit the metrics I taught you and added them to your catalog. And that's what you should have done, okay? Because your priority at this point is selling, selling, and selling, so then you can build up infrastructure later, which we'll talk about, okay? At this point, product quality is a big question mark. You don't really know how good the products are. You looked at the photo reviews and you made your best determination, but it's kind of the elephant in the room, right? You're selling some stuff to customers and you really haven't seen yourself, and you haven't gotten any customer feedback, right? So lack of feedback. Like, you have no idea what's good, what's bad. Is there a sizing problem? Everything is unknown. Something that is known is shipping speed at this point, right? Or logistics is going to be bad and unpredictable. Meaning, on one hand, ePacket is just not very fast. So you're going to be having a lot of shipping complaints. It's not going to be coming in a timely manner. You're looking at 2 weeks being pretty good for ePacket, and probably close to 20 days, and it's unpredictable because some suppliers are going to be shipping in 30 days, some are a lot faster, and it's really, you're working on their schedule, right? They don't even care who you are. You're just an ant that's buying their products and selling it to someone else. You really haven't done much. They're not going to pay attention to you. They're not going to really do anything that'll make things better for you, right? And this is the stage you're in, step 1, classic dropshipping. And guess what? This is the stage where the vast majority of dropshippers, especially general store and single product store owners, stay entirely. And you can see that I have 3 more stages planned for you. So this phase of it, you are making a lot of people angry. I'm not going to hide that fact, but it's all to build something really awesome. Because you know what's still happening at this step? And I want to be very clear about this. At this step, you don't have the resources for infrastructure, but you are still thinking long-term and sustainably, meaning you're monitoring product quality, okay? When you do get complaints, you're writing them down. When you do get indications that your products are not good, you are still monitoring and making logs of this. You are offering great customer support, lenient customer support, and you are very responsive because that's something in your control even at the very beginning, okay? And what you are doing at this point is you are trying to find the right answer. What are my best products? What are the best creatives I should be using? What's the best targeting? You're trying to get something to scale, and that's where you jumpstart into phase 2, okay? Phase 2, I'm going to use red. You're in step 2 now. And this was what I call professional dropshipping. Meaning, in order to get this point, you've started scaling. And I would say step 2 is usually where you're doing around 50 orders per day consistently, or your revenue is consistently around 2 to 3K per day. You're doing well. You're serious. Things are scaling. You know that this business is going to do well. And at this point, you know some things, right? We went from testing concepts to concept proven. Okay? You're going to stick with it. It's going to work. A lot of suppliers to start consolidation. Okay? What does that mean? You know what your best sellers are at this point. You have that data. So you're going to go to your agent that's supplying you all your best sellers and say, hey, you're doing all these best sellers for me, but I actually have 60% more sales in just a lot of other products. Or, maybe your best seller is half of all your sales, but there's another half. Do you want to start supplying for all of my stuff? You're going to start consolidating. So you go from, let's say, 20 suppliers in step 1 to now you're moving down to 5, maybe 3, maybe 2, right? Not 1 yet, but you're narrowing down. You're making progress to narrow down the suppliers. And product quality, okay? And you're making adjustments, okay? If you're selling apparel and it's clear that things are, way too small because it's Asian sizing, you're adjusting it. So now an Asian large is actually an American small, right? You're making these types of adjustments. You know which products are terrible quality, and if they're absolute trash, you're getting rid of them no matter how best-selling they are, right? You are kind of grooming, if you were, the fur of your products, right? The catalog. If your products in the beginning is like one big woolly mammoth, you're trying to cut down the excess fur. I don't get all these analogies I'm throwing out, but you're trimming it, right? You're trying to get to better and better products and keeping what are bad ones. You definitely have feedback, okay? Definitely. And guess what? Because you've started consolidation, okay? Because you have started scaling, something you can fix at this stage, okay, definitely is faster speeds. You're going to talk to your agent. You're going to say, hey, I'm bringing you a lot of business. I'm very consistent. And I go into a lot of lessons on why AliExpress agents want you to be stable and consistent and how to negotiate with them. Make sure you watch those. But just know that this is a point where you can get faster speeds. And these speeds can be much faster. They can be 10 days to the USA, right? They can be 5 days to Europe. They can be 12 days to Canada and Australia. It can get very fast, right? And it's all about negotiating with your supplier, which is how I teach you how to do it. Now, let's move into the next phase, okay? So you already got faster speeds at this point, right? And keep in mind, the moment you make it to this part, you're already better than 99.9% of drop shippers that are running terrible, unsustainable businesses with all of these problems, okay? So you're now a professional drop shipper. But the next phase, right, is what I call white label drop shipping. I'll just say it's DS, okay? Because now what's going on? You go from a proven concept to mass scaling the concept, okay? And usually what's happening here, again, it's all based on your volume, your performance, right? Scale and performance and more sales is what gets you better infrastructure. Make no mistake about it. Your goal is to sell in the beginning, but you're trying to satisfy customers as much as you can while you're focused on sales. You're going to reach a point where you're not going to just be focused on sales anymore, and that's step 3. So at this point, I would say you're doing, 4 to 10K a day, right? You are definitely in the game. You're definitely here to stay. You're doing well. Start consolidation. You've consolidated, okay? And product quality, you can start making demands about product quality. And guess what? Delivery speed definitely already happened. It's carried over, okay? And your feedback. So what is so cool about the white label stage, because these are the features of your product. And again, your agent is going to agree at this point based on where you come from. Your products are going to be branded. If they're clothing, they have tags on them. If they need to come in packaging, they're going to come in branded logo packaging. At this point, you have a 3PL in the United States, a third-party logistics company that is handling all your returns and exchanges and also holding onto an emergency inventory, right, in the United States in case you have to send it off to some really pissed off customers. Your shipping, blazing fast, right? And at this point, you can also start negotiating prices. So your costs are going to go down even though you're getting more out of it, and chances are you're off AliExpress plus Oberlo, meaning your cash flow is really good at this point as well, right? You're paying your supplier after the fact, and you're not doing it per order anymore. You're doing an invoice every single month, sort of how I set it up. And I talk about all of these stages and how to execute them in this course. So watch the other lessons, but this is just a high level kind of step. At this point, your business is sustainable, right? Like you have branded it, you have 3PLs, you can fix sizing at this point. Your agent is going to the factory and negotiating, right? Because they are taking you seriously. They want you to survive. You are stability, something that these agents do not have, okay? And now, where does everyone want to get to? This is where I am right now. And the crown jewel of it, right? Step 4, you're going to be a brand builder. What this means is from white label to brand builder, it means that you and your supplier have basically gotten married. You're conjoined at this point. You've proven that you can make a great business that lasts, that's sustainable, and that you're good to work with. And they've proven themselves at being able to get better logistics, negotiate with the factory for better prices, get things branded, make your business a lot more sustainable, all these great things. Now, what do you have in your infrastructure as a brand builder? At this point, you are only working with one supplier, and that is your supplier. They are taking orders from you because of how massive you are. At this point, it gets amazing. And keep in mind, all this stuff has carried over. At this point, you can remanufacture, right? And this is really cool. You can get your agent to actually go into the factories and negotiate on your behalf to completely remake your products so they are not anywhere close to the ones on AliExpress. And keep in mind, you already knew that this concept was mass scale. So what you're doing here is just simply turning your dropshipping concept into a legitimate, high quality brand. Hey, Cycling clothes were selling super well, remanufacture them. Make them even higher quality, and you'll get it for even cheaper because you have negotiating moves with the factory. Your team in China, your suppliers, actually going to hold on to inventory at this point, right? It's going to be a lot better, a lot cleaner. Everything's going to be better, and you're able to make these investments, right? You're able to take on that inventory risk because you already know, you've already tested the concept. You already know it's a great, great idea. If your athleisure is doing well, go ahead and remanufacture your products. Make sure that they are higher quality so that everyone is super, super ecstatic when they get your products. And you already know, based on the data you collected on Facebook, you can still use the same ad manager. It's just now things are going to be a lot better. So you can remanufacture products, right? And this time, everything is remanufactured with their logo, US standardized sizing, right? US sizing is for sure standardized at this point. And what do you also get? You're taking on a little bit of inventory risk, either you or your supplier, but you're willing to, right? And what inventory risk leads to, right? It sounds like such a terrible thing. It is a terrible thing when you don't know if the concept has been proven, but at this point you do know it's going to work. What that leads to is the fastest shipping and also the best margins. The more you can pay up front, the better your margins are going to be. And I've done this for my best sellers across all of my stores. And I'm in the process of remanufacturing everything. I want to make sure my best sellers are the best. And throughout this process, right? Throughout this process over here, right? Just through a random arrow, you are making sure that you're prioritizing your best sellers first in this infrastructure development and then other things, right? So you take on inventory risk and you have insight into China. You have a team on the ground. What they're able to do is go into factories and tell you which products are hitting hard, who's ordering a lot of them, right? You're able to go on the ground, negotiate with factories, right? Get the best deals, because this team that used to be your agent, this foreign person on step 1 is now almost your best friend in step 4. Brothers, right? I have such a close relationship with my supplier. There are moments where I owe him as much as $500,000 and he doesn't even ask me to pay because he knows I'm good for it, and vice versa. So you have insights into China. You have a team on the ground in China. And also at this point, you have automation, right? Now, because you've already been around the block, right, with one site, what you're able to make is a lot more sites. And guess what? This time, everything is going to be following this concept. I still start at step 1 on new sites, right? New sites, I'm starting at step 1 because why risk the inventory risk? Why have my team even risk inventory risk? I just go on a very accelerated track to here, right? Because as soon as I get to step 2 and the concept has been proven, I can already get things branded, get things remanufactured, etc., right? So now you have the infrastructure to go for a lot of sites and make sure that they are all super high quality. And also what's super exciting at this point is you have a lot more capabilities to make things your own. Your team is going to take product photos for you, right? If you really want them. So now your products don't even look like they had an AliExpress backstory or origin. And what they can do, right? They can be on models, completely different pictures. What your team can do is also design to manufacture. And this is where it gets so fun. You can give them a design, right? I can find a, let's say, hoodie on Gucci that I really like. And I say, hey, can you please make a variation of this hoodie, except it's just our brand on it? And again, your team knows, right? Apparel is so lax with IP infringements, things like that. You just make 3 changes onto a particular garment and it's no longer IP violation. Same for a lot of different products. That's why you see so many of the same products, just very subtle differences. What you can do now is give them ideas and they can just bring them to life. And now what's so exciting is this team that started off as a dropshipping agent, now you can leverage this infrastructure that you've built to do something beyond drop shipping. So what is so great about this stage? You have 2 massive options. And honestly, I recommend you leverage them both, right? So you're at the brand builder phase. You have great cash flow opportunities now. One end, keep dropshipping, and this time it's a lot more sustainable and you're making a lot more cash because your margins are better, your product quality is better, everything is better. So you keep dropshipping. I still do this. I still keep dropshipping. You can leverage your infrastructure to build a non-dropshipping brand. You already have a great relationship with your team at this stage. Now you can just tell them, hey, manufacture this, get the best rate. I have this idea, right? I want to make my own streetwear brand. I'm doing that right now. Maybe by the time you watch this course, it's already been launched. Made my own streetwear brand, right? Very exciting materials. And guess what? It was our team that we built through dropshipping and doing this e-commerce, this brand building phase that is doing all of the work for it, right? So you can build a non-dropshipping brand and now you actually have the infrastructure. You actually know where to get the best prices. You know how to do logistics. You know how to do customer support. You know how to do all these essential things in the e-commerce toolkit because you've mastered it getting to this point. And of course, what you can also do is sell your infrastructure, okay? And this is where it's cool. There are dropshippers out there that haven't figured it out. And now what you can do is outsource your team's services, right? Hey, I heard you're doing pretty big numbers in dropshipping. Do you want your items branded and faster logistics, higher quality? Well, my team can do that for you, and you're actually gonna be paying less than you already pay on AliExpress. And I'm gonna include all these services. They don't know because they only know AliExpress. And AliExpress prices can be 3 to 4 times as expensive as the factory cost. You can make a killing on people in the dropshipping space by offering them services that are hard to come by. Branding, faster logistics, better quality control, etc., right? You can do this for them and still make a killing, and they're going to feel amazing because they're saving so much money. So once you get into this brand building phase, you have the world as your oyster. And currently I do all 3 of these things. And let me just tell you, you know what I have to thank for all of this? All of this started, and I hope no one ever forgets, in step 1. Just classic dropshipping. So always have this long-term vision. I'm teaching you how to be a brand builder. This is how you become a serial entrepreneur, or serial 8-figure entrepreneur. We're talking tens of millions of dollars at this stage, not just 1 million or 2 million, right? Not just 6 figures, a few $100,000. We want to go for the big lot of reward, and you get there by going from step 1, which is classic dropshipping, and building that infrastructure. And this is only the supply chain side of infrastructure. We're also building infrastructure for teams. I talk about that as well, but you want to get to the brand builder stage, and then you can do whatever, literally whatever you decide to set your eyes on, because you have this massive infrastructure. And now you're a formidable entrepreneur. You have not only experience and a great toolkit, you've got a great team in the manufacturing heart of the world. And technically, your team, this AliExpress supplier that you have now developed such a close business bond with, can source anything under the sun. Literally anything, because that's their expertise. They're really good at sourcing things, they're really good at logistics, and they're really good at fulfilling orders. And that's a great asset to have in your corner.